10 things to get squared away before winter, this dark winter that's coming. Hey everybody, this is Michael with Asymmetrical Preparedness. I want to talk about a bunch of things here, list of 10 things. There's a lot of other things that you could probably should be getting. I'm not going to talk about food and water and stuff like that. That's all a given, normal preparedness stuff. This is thinking more along the lines of what do you need for winter? What do you need to get through a harsh winter? What do you need to get through a winter without power? What do you need to get through a dark winter? Meaning mainly no power and a collapsing of the system, which I feel is very likely due to all the stuff going on, crop failures, fires everywhere in food production, stuff like that, and the buying of land, farms, ranches, water rights, all that kind of stuff by the ultra wealthy. It's all about control. It's all about, food is control, food is power, same with water, same with all those kind of things, land. So we need to get ourselves squared away now. I know it's just I don't know what day I'm going to post this video, but it's in the first week in September. So it's not even technically, I don't even know when the first day of fall is, I forget. But it's not even that pumpkin spice time yet. But what kinds of things am I thinking about and looking at to get better prepared for an uncertain, potentially very challenging winter? Some simple things, and this isn't in order, and this isn't not an all-encompassing list. Like I said, these are things and they're situationally dependent. The best answer is it depends. It depends on your situation, where you live. If you live in Florida, it's going to be different than if you live in North Dakota, or Alaska, or Texas, or me in Washington, or Tennessee, or Arkansas, or Montana. It depends. This is what I think of like for my area, where we get snow usually every year, sometimes more, but not a lot. We don't get a lot of snow. We see temperatures in the sometimes in the mid to low 20s. That's pretty cold for here, so that's not super common. But we do get weeks in the 20s. So it's not extreme temperatures. It's not like North Dakota. So anyway, this is a list of things, and it's like I said, it's situationally dependent. It's dependent. If you live in an apartment in the city, obviously you're not going to need some of these things because you would have no way to use them. It would be of no use for you. But the first one is something that for me is very important and very easy to get because I'm surrounded by it, which is firewood. Stack firewood. If you're in even if you're in like maybe in the outskirts of suburbia, a little more rural, then hopefully you have a wood stove. If you don't have a wood stove, hopefully you have a yard with like a rocket stove or a campfire pit or an old grill that you can, that's the one good thing you can use, is just find an old grill on like Craigslist or a yard sale or something like that. Even if the propane doesn't work, who cares? Use firewood in it. You can do that. Fire pits. There's a lot of different things you can do to use firewood. But stack firewood. Lots of firewood. If you don't know how much firewood you're going to use, then talk to people around your area. This is part of building tribe that use firewood for heat, wood heat, all year round. And I'm speaking firewood, but if you're on the East Coast, coal is very popular also. So maybe substitute coal for firewood. Coal has a lot of uses also. If you have a pellet stove, then maybe get your pellets. But without power, it's not going to work. So you may want to think about that also. Anyway, firewood is, what I was talking about with tribe. Ask around, talk to people that use wood heat throughout the winter and see how much wood they use. Ask them how much do you go through. And then stockpile at least that much, if not double that much. Firewood it's not that expensive if you buy it. There may be ways where you can go out and forage it also. You can go out into woods and just collect dead stuff laying on the ground for free. There's usually no restrictions on that. check with your state and local laws because you don't want to get in trouble. They may even have firewood cutting permits where you can go cut down trees and stuff like that. But for now, if you're looking at stuff for this winter, don't concentrate on the live trees, obviously. Concentrate on the dead stuff. Pick up a bunch of dead stuff. Even if it's just, not very big stuff. Like here, let me grab this right here really quick. This is just one example. This is laying right here. So I got stuff all around. Even if it's just stuff like this. Is it going to burn very long? Is it going to be as effective as firewood? No, it's not. But if you got to collect a bunch of this stuff, dead stuff, there you go. There's some firewood right there. And yeah, I'll keep that because why not? We got dead stuff all over the place, so we got lots of firewood. But anyway, firewood is important. Okay, let's get off that though for now. Because it doesn't apply to a lot of people. There's a lot of good stuff in here that does apply to people also. But before I continue, if you like the content, if you like being a prepper, if you want to grow the community, if you want to get through to others, please subscribe, hit that thumbs up button, comment below, share the videos, and check out all the other prepper channels. Spread the love, build the community. Anyway, okay, let's go on to the next item. One of my favorite items to get at thrift stores is blankets. Wool blankets, quilts, fleece blankets. Those are my three favorites. We love those big, thick fleece blankets. We normally get them for anywhere between $7 and $8. Very inexpensive, easy to pick up, usually in really good condition. Yeah, lots of blankets because you can use them for lots of different things. Keeping yourself warm, window coverings. I talked about that recently, kind of in my dark winter video. But blankets, very important. Keep you warm. You got to keep your family warm. So that's a really good thing to have. Very versatile, very useful. Another thing is boots. If you are the kind of person that you don't own any boots, maybe you just own tennis shoes, flip-flops, sandals, Birkenstocks, I call them Jesus sandals. Maybe you just own stuff like that. Think about, even if you're in an area where it doesn't get very cold, get yourself a good quality pair of boots because you're going to be on your feet a lot more, you're going to be working a lot more, you're going to be out in the elements a lot more probably. So get yourself a good quality pair of boots with the appropriate level of insulation. What's it called? I forget now. The insulation ratings for boots. Anyway, and waterproof, probably want to think about that. And or additional waterproofing products that you can apply to your boots. But get good quality boots, good quality footwear is very, very important. Some of my favorite brands are Merrill, Solomon, Vask, Oboz. Those are my top 4 probably. So all my boots I think are one of those. Yeah, all my boots are one of those brands. Good quality stuff. To go along with that, also socks to keep your feet warm. It's part of the back to boots though. The appropriate level of insulation, but also you can get wool inserts, like wool, what are they called? The, you know what I'm talking about, the thing that goes inside your boots. Man, today my brain is just off. I apologize. Those insoles, that's what they are. Get wool insoles because a lot of your heat is lost via conduction, which is contact with the ground. And a lot of boots, even if they're insulated, don't really have much insulation on the bottoms. So get wool insoles. And let's move on to the next one, socks. Good quality socks. I like merino wool 70% or higher socks. And then they come in different thicknesses. They come in lightweight, come in midweight, come in heavyweight. You may want to think about wool sock liners and then a thicker pair of wool socks, depending on your area. It all depends, like I said. But good quality socks, lots of them. Layering systems. If you're out and about working, like I talked about in my other video, you don't want to have a big jacket. You want to have a layering system. You want to have base layers, intermediate layers, shells, stuff like that. Depending on where you are, how cold it gets, and what the environment is like, how you need to tailor your layering system. If you're in North Dakota or Alaska, it may look a lot different than, say, Florida. But it's still advantageous too because it still gets cold in Florida. You can still get wet in Florida, right? Yeah, you can get wet, that's for sure. So you want to stay dry. and you want to be able to function out in the elements. You can still get hypothermia in Florida. Yep. All right, so layering. Okay, another one of my favorite things to get at thrift stores is sleeping bags. I've found some really nice, good quality sleeping bags. Nothing like super extreme that I would use like as a standalone sleeping bag in North Dakota or something like that, for example. But I found ones that are decent and they work really well for my AO, for my area of operations, where I live. But you can also think about sleeping bags. You can also supplement them with the blankets I talked about, with layering your clothing inside, with shells for them, etc. Shelter, stuff like that. So sleeping bags. Another good one is for shelter, building shelters, and lots of other uses is tarps. You can use tarps for rainwater collection. You can use tarps for shelter. You can use tarps to cover the stuff in the back of your truck so it doesn't get wet. You can use tarps for a lot of different reasons. Ground covers, for laying over your garden to keep the, to warm your garden. There's lots of different things you can use tarps for. So have lots of tarps. Okay, foul weather gear. That kind of goes along with the base layering, but having those waterproofing shells like Gore-Tex or, different brands have their different proprietary waterproofing systems. Good quality. This is where quality comes in. You can skimp corners on a lot of things, but there's also times when you need to buy quality. Footwear is one of them, socks is one of them, and your foul weather gear is one of them. Next one is fire starting gear and or implements like lighters, like ferro rods, like strikers for them, etc. Use your imagination and whatever works in your area. There's a lot of different styles of lighters. There's the kind, the storm-proof, or there's the regular, Bic lighters. There's a lot of different lighters. Did you like my sound effects? I hope so. That was very special. Yes, have and train yourself and learn different ways. Learn the bow and drill. Learn canoe method. Hopefully you won't have to use them because that takes a lot of time and effort and is a pain in the butt. And I don't ever really want to do that. But having the knowledge is very important. But have fire starting gear. You need to be able to learn how to start, and know how to start a fire in all weather conditions. That's very important to keep yourself warm and cook food and dry your clothes out, etc. All right. The next one, the last one, is alternative heating and cooking methods. Whether it be a camp stove, whether it be like a Coleman stove, whether it be your wood stove, whether it be a campfire, whether it be your rocket stove, whatever. Different methods of cooking. And I'm thinking off-grid. If you don't have a grid anymore, if you have a propane stove or natural gas, if the natural gas is still running, which maybe not, you can light it with a lighter. Talked about that also recently. But having alternate methods of cooking your food. And beyond that, it's not really on this list, but things that you can eat without having to cook is also very good. Canned goods. You don't have to cook. These all fit in the ration category, which are things like MREs, peanut butter, canned goods, jam, canned meats, all those kind of things. Look at items when you're in the store and stockpile a good variety of different kinds of foods, meaning dry goods, maybe the freeze-dried, the long-term storage goods, as well as the ration category, the ready-to-eat. That's very important also, because you may not always have the ability to cook. Maybe you are out and about and you want to have a low signature as far as not giving away your location. You don't want to start a fire. Rations. So these are a lot of things I was thinking about. There's a lot more you could add to this list. Winter is coming, period. And we know that. I mean, it kind of just happens every year, so the best thing to do is to be prepared for it. Be prepared for worst case scenario, hope for the best case scenario, and just buckle down. Make this a priority. Up your prepping game. Times are going crazy. They're going to get worse. Really hope you guys are ready. I don't feel ready. Yeah, I've got a lot to do. And I'm sure you probably do too. But anyway, I love you guys. Have a wonderful day, and blessings to you and yours.